So a yaw effect is very hard for me to explain in words. A yaw effect is when, can you imagine a plane moving and then it shift from side to side? Yeah, that is like a yaw effect. So when you have a wind turbine that is turning about a vertical axis, and then you have wind flow, okay, blowing to the wind turbine at the same time, it will cause it to sort of vibrate, right? And that is called the yaw effect. And the vibration will reduce the rotational efficiency of the wind turbine and therefore reducing the extractable power that is connected to the grid. So yawing rotation about the vertical axis while the rotor is turning about its horizontal axis encounters strong gyroscopic forces. I say these forces have to be transmitted through the bearings and propeller shaft, causing high stresses and vibration. That's what I said just now. So for this reason, the propeller blades of large machines are made of a lightweight material such as a composite plastic, such as fiberglass, rather than metal. Okay, so reduce this vibration, then material engineers discover that composite material is better than metal. Yeah. And then there's also one thing called the centrifugal forces experienced by wind turbine. So the rotations of the blade of a wind turbine causes outward acting centrifugal forces. This phenomenon can be experienced by tying a weight at the end of a string and swinging it around. So imagine sometimes you take string and then you swing and then you feel that there's something pulling the string out. That is the centrifugal forces. So the outward acting forces depend directly on the mass or weight and the speed of rotation. So because of these centrifugal forces, the rotational speed of the rotor is also limited, because if you turn your rotor too fast, then the outward centrifugal forces is too huge. It can pull and tear the blade out from your wind turbine shaft. And what happens is that you have a disaster happens, accident happens, and everything breaks down, like disintegrated, literally. So calculations of the centrifugal forces on a wind turbine tending to pull the rotating propeller blades out of their socket is complicated because the weight is distributed non-uniformly along the length of the blade. Okay, this is just information for you, yeah? So the next slide is the next part of video series of the videos is to explain to you how wind turbine is connected to the electrical grid. Okay, because ultimately we want to connect the power extracted from the wind turbine to the grid. So most wind energy systems are used to generate electricity, of course. So the wind turbine is usually coupled to a generator directly or via a gearbox to step up the generator shaft speed. So you either have a wind turbine connected directly to the load, which is to the electrical grid, because your wind turbine is your generator, all right? Or you have your wind turbine connect to a gearbox first before you go to your generator, and then connect to your electrical grid. So the gearbox is served to step up the speed of the rotation. Maybe your wind turbine is turning at the lower speed, and then with gearbox you are able to increase the turning speed at the other end of the wind turbine, which is here, so that you can have an ideal rotational speed to generate an ideal electrical voltage before you connect to the load. Okay, so the explanations, some definitions of the variables over here. PW is the power in the wind, that is what we know. PX is the extractable power from the wind turbine. Okay, PG is the power entering your generator. WT is the wind turbine rotational speed. WG is the generator rotational speed, the shaft. Okay, omega represents the rotational speed. So WT is the rotational speed of the wind turbine shaft. WG is the rotational speed of the generator shaft. And PE is the power of the electricity that is generated by the generator. And TG is the torque of the generator shaft. And TT is the torque of the wind turbine shaft. Okay. So for this reason, right, the generator is usually mounted at the top of the supporting tower along with the gearbox. So electric cables run down the tower to connect the